So, the Dyson Zone. This has got to be one of the weirdest, quirkiest products that was announced in 2022. And I remember when we covered it towards in March, early April, around that time frame, there was a lot of jokes going around pointed at Dyson. And rightly so, because these are ANC headphones with an air purifying mask built in one product. Now, when I first saw the initial pictures, the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, that looks like Optimus Prime because of Dyson's blue color. Some people have said it looks like Bane's mask. I have other journalist friends who thinks it looks like some futuristic cyberpunk ninja mask. But whatever we think it looks like, does it actually work? Does this concept of audio and air filtration fitting into one product, does it work? And to answer that question, Dyson invited me and a couple of other journalists around the world to visit their campus in Malmesbury, UK, to basically check out, the whole process, everything from the beginning, the research, the development, the engineering, the testing, everything that went into making the Dyson Zone. These are sort of the raw photos and videos that I took while I was on that tour, was inside the labs, and I thought that making this video just rejig my memory while it's still fresh in my head, and then give some thoughts on what I think about the Dyson Zone as well. First things first, let's talk about the mask, or as Dyson will call it, the visor. Now, to my surprise, this was of actually very thin, pliable plastic material that just connects to the main headphone body via magnets on a hinge. So you don't actually have to fiddle around to know where it connects. Once you bring it to your face, it automatically finds those magnets, it clips on and aligns itself perfectly every time. And that hinge allows you to move it up and down to basically start or stop the air filtration mode. So there's no button for it. Once you clip on the mask, the air filter starts, and if you move it down, the air filter stops to also allow you to speak to other people as well. Of course, you can pull it off and keep the visor away. And like I said, it's soft and pliable enough that you can actually fold it and stick it in your pocket, or just throw it in your bag. It doesn't feel like it's going to break anytime soon because it's also plastic. Unless you purposely try to crush it or step on it, it's going to last. Now, the visor itself has this sort of mesh towards the center that dissipates the air that comes out from the headphones, so you don't get a blast of air in your face or up your nose. You sort of get this cushion of air that covers the front of your face. And it, besides just sending you clean air to breathe, it also creates a sort of air curtain that protects you from dirty outside air and bacteria. Now, these are things that we couldn't show you. Dyson actually showed us some of their testing facilities where they tested all these kind of things, how effective this sort of air curtain or air cushion is at protecting a user. They have dummy heads with the mask on, and they fill the whole room with 0.01 micron particles or oil particles, just to see how effective it is. And according to Dyson, their tests have shown that it's about 97% effective in protecting the user from particles, down to 0.01 microns. Now, this is unlike, obviously, some of the other powered masks that have come out over the past few years. I've got Philips one here, with the LG hard shell Puricare here. The LG one has this silicone cup that sort of creates a seal on your face, and they have filter material on the mask itself. It wears like a mask, it acts like a mask, and the whole powered thing is basically just to create a ventilation for the mask, because it's sealed. You get hot and your face starts sweating and your nose starts sweating. It technically still works even if the battery runs out, because you can still breathe through that filter material. It's just like wearing an N95 mask, for example. It may be a little bit more difficult, but it still works. That is different from what the Dyson Zone is, because the Dyson Zone, as I said, is basically an air purifier that sends this clean air into your face. It creates this clean air zone in front of your face. The visor itself is non-contact. It doesn't touch your face. It creates that seal via an air curtain. So it sort of works in a different way, and this is where we get to the next point, which are the compressors on the Dyson Zone. And I feel that this is something that Dyson is the most proud of because they spend the most time telling us everything from how they've miniaturized their motor technology. As you know, Dyson got famous from vacuum cleaners, which are huge things, and they start getting smaller and smaller digital motors, to the Dyson Supersonic, which is the hairdryer, which is tiny enough. And now the Dyson Zone. Now, obviously, I don't have the Dyson Zone, so we're going to have to use props just to show you what I'm talking about. The Dyson Zone has two compressors, not just one, but two motors and two compressors on both sides of the ear cups. And when that turns on, when you put the visor on, there's this air hole which blows the air out into the visors from both sides, converges to the front with a mesh, and it comes out in that cloud. So the thing about these motors for Dyson was really, really important. Dyson had to basically create these tiny air compressors, engineered to like the nth degree, because they had to make them small enough to fit in a pair of headphones, but it's still powerful enough to basically push that kind of air out to create the air cushion. It also needs to be energy efficient because, again, these are a pair of headphones and it's powered, and unlike these masks, which technically still work even if the power runs out, because they ultimately are just masks with filter material, the Dyson Zone is not going to work at all if the battery runs out. Your compressors won't run, your audio won't run, nothing would run. So it needs to be small, it needs to be powerful, it needs to be energy efficient, it also needs to be robust. So even if the compressors weren't running and you're not using that visor and just listening to music, your head could be moving around, and you don't want these little motors to be like jangling around at the side of your head. So to that effect, these compressors are basically sitting on top of a suspended housing with like rubberized shock absorbers. So the whole thing sits at the back of the ear cup, and it just moves around, so it doesn't actually touch or hit anything, and it's just suspended. And the secondary effect of that is also to try and reduce noise and vibration from the motor, because again, headphones, and now you have two tiny motors on the side of each, right at the side of your eardrums, and they have to make sure to try as best as they can to make it as quiet as possible to reduce vibrations of that motor when it's running, or else you're just going to hear that whir. Now, I've tested this for a little while, and I can tell you that yes, you can hear that whir. I mean, let's be serious here. Nothing is going to like completely block out that noise. The moment you put on the visor and the airflow starts, you can hear the airflow coming. You can hear the whir of the motors, but a big part of it is able to be cancelled out by noise cancelling technology. We'll talk more about that later, but let's just keep on about the motors now. But it is there. How much Dyson can dampen it from when I listened to it last week to when it's actually launched, we don't know. They're probably still fine-tuning all these kind of things, but don't expect to not hear the motors at all. That is almost physically impossible to do. Basically, that whole 6 years of design and development for the Dyson Zone, all the materials that they've tried and used, from plastics to resin to metals, which worked, which didn't, all those things to basically try and make that product work in the way that they wanted it to work. Now, what does Dyson know about audio? They are a vacuum cleaner and fan and pretty popular hair care product company. If you ask many people, nothing. If you ask Dyson, it seems everything. You see, Dyson may not have a heritage in creating audio products, but according to them, they have a long history of, testing and optimizing acoustic capabilities of their products. They have many audio engineers, they have advanced facilities like anechoic chambers, and they do a lot of such testing for vacuum cleaners and fans. And that's sort of the scientific data analytics approach to audio, rather than, say, having some famous audiophile founder with golden ears and that dictates the sound of a company, right? So the Dyson Zone is going to probably be one of the very first headphones that is created through data, right? Dyson has tested everything from every part of the headphone, every material that is used in the headphone, from the speakers itself to the chamber to the foam padding. And again, like I said, they have anechoic chambers where they brought us in and showed us all their dummy products with mics attached everywhere and mics attached outside, basically trying to figure out how well the headphone sounds from the inside, from the outside. They do have specialized listening rooms which are created to mimic many different listening environments, from quiet environments to even city environments like a busy street, a train, for example, to test all kinds of audio capabilities. They do have sort of like an expert listening panel of users who run through, I think, about 500 over listening tests across various panels, just to try and figure out what's the best sound that they should go out for. So it's like a crowd-funded, best sounding headphone through data approach. At the very end of all this, the Dyson Zone is supposed to be a more neutral sounding headphone with slight bass kick. It's not completely neutral, it's not completely flat like reference headphones. It is leaning towards neutral with a sort of slight bass boost. It's not a big bass boost, slight bass boost, but all these are what was told to us during our trip. And again, from that time till the time this is launched, I'm sure they're still continually fine-tuning this sound. But I'm going to read you some of my notes on the specs that they've given us. The Dyson Zone has 40mm 16 ohms neodymium speaker drivers. The thing also has 11 mics in total, 8 of which are used for ANC purposes. It's a combination of feed-forward mics and feedback mics. It even has dedicated mics to suppress that compressor noise that we talked about just now. According to Dyson, these microphones monitor surrounding noise up to 384,000 times a second, and it has a capability, ANC capability of suppressing up to 40 decibels of noise. Now, this is not industry leading at this moment, but when we talk to Dyson engineers, they say it's not just about how much they want to block out. It's a balance of how much they block out, how much they let in, and how much they can enhance to basically give users that more natural sounding audio. Now, I can't really speak on behalf of testing this product. We had very limited time with it, and we've always been with other journalists in other rooms. It's always noisy. We were never alone to try and test audio, for example, the quality of it. And so I can't really say much on that front until we actually get the product to test it out. But I am very interested in testing it, because it seems like a very tech-focused product or tech-derived product. It's based on science in that sense. Everything that Dyson has used to make this is tested to an nth degree. There was a room for testing everything on this pair of headphones, even the foam material. Now, I've asked them what exactly the foam material they ended up with. They couldn't even tell me, because there's no specific name for it. It's not like a memory foam or anything. It's just a type of foam that they've tested over I don't know how many years to find that this is the best foam, to have the best sound isolation and the best clamping force and all that kind of stuff. Active noise cancellation works pretty decently. That's all I would say at this moment. But what I'm really impressed with is the transparency mode. This is probably one of the best, most natural transparency mode headsets that I have ever used. I think it's going to beat even some of the popular ones out there. The Dyson Zone is a Bluetooth headset. It features Bluetooth 5, but crucially, this does not have aptX codec. It has something better. It actually supports LHDC. Now, LHDC is for low latency, high definition codec. It has better specs than aptX, actually competes with Sony's LDAC. It has 24-bit, 96 kilohertz audio with a maximum bit rate of 900 kilobits per second. Now, LHDC has been around since Android 10, but of course, with all Android phones, it really depends on the manufacturer or the phone whether it supports it. But the Dyson Zone supports LHDC. Now, in terms of battery life, this thing supposedly lasts 60 hours on a single charge. If you look at this little 3D model and you look at the headband, you'd see that it's three sort of protruding cushions, which is cleverly hidden. Only the top cushion is actually a cushion. The two side cushions are additional batteries. So that gives the Dyson Zone a lot of juice because it needs to do two things. Of course, that 60 hours is for audio and ANC alone. If you turn on the visor and the air purifier, it can go down to between, I think, 1.5 hours to 6 hours, depending on the speed of the compressors. Remember, you have two compressors on two sides of your ears, so at low speed it can go a little bit longer. In high speed, it's going to eat up battery really fast. That is an overview of the Dyson Zone, everything that I saw and experienced at Dyson's campus. Can't wait to actually have one of these things, to try it proper in the office or out in the streets, even see if people think we're a joke, or maybe it could be a cool fashion statement. So what do you think about the Dyson Zone? Do you have any other questions about it? Did I miss something in this video? Do put it in the comments. Give us a shout. Check out HardwareZone.com. We may update it with further stories as and when it comes along. See you in the next video. I forgot what I'm gonna say. I went poop now and then blank. Hey guys, before you go, don't forget to check out HardwareZone.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Join in the conversation. Like and subscribe to our YouTube if you want to see more of these videos. Do it.